Kia ora, and thank you for being here. I'm Dr. Yvonne Chan Cashmore, and today I'm going to share with you how creativity, sensory, and cultural approaches to well-being can be evaluated through the Universal Wellbeing Model. My presentation is titled Embodied Wellbeing, evaluating interactive healing environments aligned with the Universal Wellbeing Model. I'd like to begin with a karakia to bring us grounded together. Mori ohu, mori tū, mori ora, kia kato tatoa, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. This awakens our life force, affirms our collective strength, and brings us together as we enter the space of shared learning. So before we delve into the details, I'd like to give you a clear sense of where this presentation is heading. Why wellbeing matters in Aotearoa, New Zealand, introducing the Universal Wellbeing Model and Evaluation Tool, what interactive healing environments are and how they differ from other multisensory spaces. And then onto a case study, the Symbiosis Exhibition in Auckland. Then on to evaluating findings aligned with the UWM and what this means for preventive first wellbeing practices. So why does this matter, especially here in Aotearoa, New Zealand? Recent health surveys show rising levels of psychological distress, particularly among youth, Māori, Pacific and disabled communities. Workplace studies highlight stress, burnout and isolation. At the same time, our population is becoming more diverse, with more people identifying across multiple cultures. This is a strength, but also a challenge. People need spaces where they feel safe, affirmed, and connected. Traditional wellbeing approaches tend to be reactive. What's needed are holistic, prevention first approaches that engage the whole person emotionally, culturally, spiritually, intellectually, socially, and physically. This is the rationale for interactive healing environments. So introducing the Universal Wellbeing Model, this was created and developed by the Freedom Wellbeing Institute. So let me first acknowledge the years of work and dedication that has gone into creating this model, and to say how valuable it is in engaging directly with research community that has brought it to life. At the centre of its 5 sensory inputs, what we see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. These inputs shape our experiences and directly influence well-being. From there, well-being extends to the 6 spices dimensions. And these are social, physical, intellectual, cultural, emotional, and spiritual. These are supported by 70 determinants of well-being, covering factors from sleep and self-talk to cultural identity and spiritual values. What makes the UWM unique is its ability to integrate sensory, emotional, cultural, and spiritual dimensions into a holistic and measurable framework. Alongside the model itself sits the Universal Wellbeing Evaluation Tool, or UWET, which translates the Universal Wellbeing Model into a practical way of measuring well-being. The tool assesses well-being across the 6 spices dimensions by drawing on its 70 determinants of well-being. It is a structured scale to capture how individuals are experiencing each area, from self-talk and emotionally safety through sleep, cultural identity and spiritual values. What makes the UWET so powerful is that it is both evidence-based and practical. It gives us the data that can track outcomes, highlight risks, and identify areas for intervention. Importantly, it does this in a way that recognises the intercultural or interconnected nature of well-being rather than reducing it as a single measure. In context of my presentation today, the UWET framework is particularly relevant because it offers a way to evaluate embodied experiences. And this is as such valuable for evaluating the interactive healing environments. It ensures that we might feel subjective or sensory can be interpreted, analysed and communicated in terms that align with national and professional wellbeing frameworks. So as I share the interactive healing environments or IHE case study next, please keep in mind and how these experiences can be mapped, aligned with the UWM and measured through its UWET. And this is bridging practice, creativity and evidence. So multi-sensory environments are not new. They've been used in healthcare, education and entertainment to stimulate the senses with sound, light, colour, smell and touch. But interactive healing environments goes a step further. They don't just stimulate the senses, they activate them to enhance well-being and support alignment and consciousness development. Interactive healing environments weave sensory inputs with cultural storytelling, creative arts, ritual and ancient knowledge. They create spaces for emotional regulation, cultural affirmation, spiritual alignment and a sense of belonging. In short, IHEs build on multi-sensory environments. They're transforming them into holistic, healing and measurable experiences. So some examples of multisensory environments includes children's hospitals, such as this one, the Chicago Hospital. And here you will see that these are spaces where families and friends can come together and engage with the areas. And this one in particular shows natural materials being used, sensory LED lighting, and is a great way to also engage with other communities. Museums and spas and retails are also other initiatives that have used in sensory environments. Also, international visitors attractions. Major cities have used them to attract tourists and to promote their own campaigns, but also local artists or known ones that have been around. So interactive healing environments are research living labs, as well as immersive exhibitions. They combine art, technologies, rituals and ancient knowledge with sensory curated design. So sound is explored through a vibrational resonance, scent as an energetic communication, sight through sacred geometry and art, and then there's colour and light as frequency. IHEs ask, how can aligning frequencies of our senses deepen people's connection with themselves, with others, and the space itself? Visitors are also invited to reflect and share their feedback on their experience, and this helps us evaluate IHEs as both lived experiences and research inquiries. Their purpose is not just stimulation, but connection and transformation, creating spaces where people feel emotionally safe, culturally affirmed, and spiritually connected. The first IHE was held at Silo Park, Wynyard Quarter in Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland. This area is a vibrant urban hub. It's home to businesses, creative industries, diverse festivals, and public gatherings. It attracts both locals and visitors, making it a natural site for cultural exchange. Its dynamic and developing environment made it an ideal location to hold the first interactive healing environments exhibition. It's a project about connection, transformation, and intercultural connection in the heart of a vibrant city. So earlier this year, in April 2025, we brought the IHE concept through symbiosis, the ancient knowledge of the serpent. And within the silo structures, the serpent was chosen as a unifying archetype, appearing as the Taniwha in Maori traditions, the Naga in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, the rainbow serpent in Aborigine Dreamtime, the dragon in ancient cultures, and the snake across ancient civilizations. Though expressed differently across cultures, the serpent represents transformation, wisdom, healing, and protection. This exhibition welcomed more than 3,500 visitors across 3 weeks. They engaged in 6 silo temples or chambers, and each designed to activate a different aspect of well-being through the senses. One of the exhibition's aims was to foster intercultural connection and a sense of belonging. By highlighting the serpent archetypes across Maori, Hindu, Buddhist, Aborigine, Taoist and European traditions, participants saw the uniqueness and shared wisdom of these narratives. This approach supported cultural intelligence, the ability to interpret and connect across differences while finding common ground. Visitors described being emotionally moved, spiritually aligned, and culturally affirmed. Workshops on storytelling, art journaling, colour, sound and scent, and movement moved participants and helped them experience cultural intelligence as something lived and embodied, not just conceptual. This space was a creation where inclusivity, sacred and transformative approaches could be embodied. So these are some examples of the knowledge that was shared across cultures as actual hard copy poster displays, and also there were digital presentations to show the cultural knowledge across. The digital presentations and displayed many cultural archetypes and cultural stories and teachings. There was the Celtic, Druidic and traditions, Hindu and Buddhism, and I'm just skipping through some more, Aborigine Dreamtime, the Greek mythology, the rod of the Asclepius is still the symbol of medicine today. Taoist philosophy, And then just moving on, interactive healing environments are distinctive with the intention of bringing together multiple senses together. Rather than stimulating one sense in isolation, IHEs weave sight, sound, touch, smell, and movement and ritual. This multisensory design deepens awareness, evokes emotion, and fosters connection with oneness, with others, and with the wider environment. It transforms an exhibition into an immersive healing journey. At the entrance, visitors were encountered with 8 6-metre textile lengths that I had created specifically for the exhibition and the actual structures of the silos. Each scroll was frequency aligned, combining sacred geometries, the goddess archetypes that align with the scented oils. And these aromatherapy oils were created by Aurora Alchemy. Each scroll, again, was frequency aligned, but these were calculated through the use of AI and calculating the frequencies of the oil and their natural ingredients. Myself connecting in with the goddess archetypes through the essence of the essential oils, and then developing my original sacred geometry drawings and patterns, and using AI algorithms to refine the alignments of the oil frequencies and the original drawings. The result was a series of textiles that embodied the archetypal resonance through art, scent, and frequency vibration. So these scrolls were suspended in the dynamic height of the silo space and illuminated with colour lighting as you would look up to the silos. The combination of scale, geometry and light created a powerful first impression and setting the tone for a transformative experience. Visitors were asked to choose which scroll resonated with them most strongly. So they were given time to set themselves grounded into the space and also to connect with the textile scrolls. To deepen the connection, they were then anointed with the corresponding oil that linked with the scroll and archetype. Each scroll carried an invocation that visitors could read and take away, and extending that ritual beyond the exhibition. They could then use that as a way to reflect on what they were feeling in that moment and how that they could deepen that connection going forward and maybe exploring their own ritual practice. The ancient Persian rugs that laid beneath the scrolls also created a warm and reflective space and encouraging people to sit and pause and connect. In this way, the scrolls became immersive healing portals, uniting visual art, sacred geometry, scent, and archetypal wisdom and ritual. When participants or the visitors indicated which one they did feel more resonated with, we then explained to them what the archetype represented. And often this related to what they were emotionally going through themselves or challenges that they had been experiencing. And it just helped them to just sit and pause and to connect with it further. Scent is one of the most powerful connectors to memory and emotion. Aromatherapy has been used since ancient times in rituals and in healing, and today science confirms that scent bypasses much of our cognitive processes and communicates directly with the brain. In the exhibition, aromatherapy was woven into the experience as a bridge between memory, presence, and ritual healing. In the next chamber, this was designed to create something like a magical garden. Dozens of small bird boxes, each containing a pure essential oil, were suspended along the walls of the chamber. Visitors were able to connect with the boxes and the scent and explore each one and see which one resonated with them. The simplicity of the interaction was just beautiful to see. It was playfully smelling, comparing, and remembering, and sparked curiosity and connection and conversations. For children and adults alike, this became a joyful yet profound way of discovering how scent connects memory, story, and well-being. As part of the community engagement program, we hosted workshops that brought the exhibition themes to life. Some were led by the alchemist Yvette Sitton, who's also one of my PhD students, whose research explores goddess archetypes and leadership development. Her workshop sessions combine scent, colour, and storytelling to show how scent can act as both healing and narrative. Other workshops aligned with each chambers included dance, yoga, sound bath journeys, art journaling, and each extending the sensory experience into a space of participation. These workshops turned the exhibition into more than something just to see. It became a space to learn, connect, and transform. The next healing chamber focused on light, colour, and chakra connection. Visitors were introduced to the body's 7 chakras through digital presentations connecting colour, frequency with well-being. The exhibition linked the chakras to serpent archetypes across cultures, showing how colour and energy systems mirrored in ancient wisdom traditions. This space offered both education and a direct sensory activation. The chamber was lit with a full spectrum of colours, each corresponding with a chakra. Visitors could either stand, sit, or lie under different coloured lighting, feeling how the frequencies affected their energy and state of being. Guided tours and workshops deepen the learning, explaining how each chakra relates to colour, energy, and well-being. For many, this space became a restorative and revelatory, showing that colour is not only visual but also a frequency and vibration. So there were digital presentations providing knowledge and education on how each chakra resonated with colour and frequency, how the chakra related to the serpent narratives and practices across cultures, practical techniques such as meditation, breathwork, or yoga poses, and daily rituals like eating chakra-coloured foods or wearing colours to support balance. So the takeaways was that small daily actions can create powerful shifts into our energy and well-being. So sound was another central part of the exhibition. We had workshops where we invited participants to experience music, voice, and toning, and to feel the vibration directly through their bodies. There were guided meditations and storytelling, weaving in meaning into these soundscapes. Ancient instruments were used, such as crystal bowls, gongs, didgeridoos, and traditional drums and flutes. There was a brainwave entrainment as well through the use of binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies for altered states and deep rest. We also created a diverse exhibition playlist which blended ritual music, cultural instruments and healing sound frequencies. The sound healing journeys allow participants to lie down, listen and to receive. These became aspects of shared vulnerability and connection, aligning strongly with the Universal Wellbeing's emotional, cultural and spiritual dimensions. The exhibition also featured other workshops and community co-creation opportunities. So as well as movement and dance, there were different variations of yoga practices, storytelling circles, even mandala making, which was one of my favourites, art journaling, and also a safe place to share what you had created and what it meant to you. But these activations gave participants a practical way to integrate creativity, well-being, while also contributing to a collective artwork of shared experience. There was also a dedicated art community co-creation space. And within this was an exhibition showing the design and artistic skill development of a young artist's journey, drawing the dragon and the serpent since the age of 8 years old. The young artist also drew a template of a large dragon on the walls of one of the chambers, where visitors could also leave their creative mark on the dragon. The co-creation space reminded people that well-being is not only individual, but also collective and relational. The exhibition was a living research lab. We invited feedback in 2 ways. Simple post-it notes for reflection to capture those immediate thoughts, feelings and experiences, which was also great for the kids and minors who could not complete the research survey. There was also a structured survey, so this was able to give measurable responses across wellbeing dimensions. The mixed methods approach gave us qualitative richness and quantitative data of lived experiences. People expressing love, harmony, peace and gratitude and transformation in their own words. The mixed methods approach allowed the data to align with these experiences with the Universal Wellbeing framework. By mapping these against the UWM, we could evaluate the exhibition not only as an artistic event, but a measurable wellbeing intervention. To evaluate the exhibition, we mapped the IHE experiences against the UWM. At the centre of the sensory inputs, which were sight, sound, smell, touch, and in other contexts, taste, every aspect of the IHE was designed around inputs, ensuring each sense became a pathway into well-being. Taste was not a sense included in the exhibition. However, this is something that we could look into in further future applications. But from using ritual teas and cacao and sharing vibrational food, there was an element of taste included. By stimulating the multiple senses simultaneously, the IHE created a powerful entry point into well-being. Participants weren't just hearing or seeing ideas, they were embodying them through direct sensory experience. And this is where the model and practice align so strongly. Because we engage with our senses with intention, we open our natural intrinsic pathways to intellectual dimensions of well-being. This framework allows us to connect sensory experience directly to the Universal Wellbeing Model's 6 dimensions and the 70 determinants. The evaluation feedback aligned strongly with the Universal Wellbeing Model. From an emotional perspective, we found the high levels of resonance and safety. From a spiritual perspective, there was increased alignment, meaning, and transcendence. From a cultural view, there was strong affirmation of identity and intercultural belonging. Thinking socially, there were reports of inclusivity, connection, and community sense of a belonging. On the physical side, people felt relaxed and restored, but also connecting in with their physical body through the movement workshops. Intellectual, through their new learnings about other cultures, the chakras, and healing modalities. These outcomes shows that IHEs embody all the 6 dimensions of well-being in ways that are holistic and measurable. Our analysis highlighted 4 key themes. So the first is emotional safety. Participants consistently described the exhibition as calming, safe, and supportive. 2, spiritual meaning. Many noted a deepened connection to their spiritual self and to others. 3, cultural affirmation. Visitors felt seen, valued in their own cultural identities while resonating with traditions beyond their own. 4, belonging. People expressed feelings of inclusion, connection, and transcendence. So each of these findings aligns directly with the Universal Wellbeing Model determinants such as emotional growth, cultural identity, and spiritual values. One of the key insights from this work is that interactive healing environments demonstrate how arts-based embodied practices can directly be linked to a measurable well-being outcomes. By aligning with the Universal Wellbeing Model and incorporating the Universal Wellbeing Evaluation tool, we now have a way to translate sensory and spiritual experiences of an exhibition into data that supports prevention-first strategies. This means what we might otherwise be perceived as subjective or intangible can, in fact, be measured and evaluated. It allows us to move beyond awareness into coordinated, evidence-based action, aligning with the upcoming New Zealand's Prevention Universal Wellbeing Charter. The implications are clear. IHEs are scalable. They're a transdisciplinary model for wellbeing intervention. They bridge ancient knowledge, creative and spiritual practices, evidence-based frameworks. This makes them applicable in schools, healthcare, community spaces, workplaces, and policy settings. By combining embodied experiences with measurable outcomes, IHEs provide tools for inclusion, or being inclusive, prevention-first wellbeing strategies. So, in closing, embodied wellbeing connects the mind, body, spirit, and culture. Interactive healing environments bring the universal well-being to life through art, tradition, sensory activation, and community engagement. They showed that prevention-first, evidence-based frameworks can also be a beautiful, inclusive, and transformative model. My vision is to expand this work further, integrating digital technologies, deepening research, and continuing community practice. all in service for the universal well-being for all. I thank you, and I'm very open to conversations and collaborations and look forward to connecting with you. Ngā mihi nui, thank you for listening, be well and vibrant.